Oh my God, it's actually on her head. Oh, never mind. It lasted maybe 3 seconds. Actually, it lasted from that walk to this.
You look cute, Rem.
Why don't you wear things on your head anymore?
Just because I'm too cool for that. And you look so cute.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome, actually. She wants to go in that so bad. Yeah, I gotta do some fixing. It's a little lopsided, but I gotta fix it. Hello, my internet friends. I wanted to do a little bit of a video about something I've always briefly talked about, but I've never really fully actual depth of it. I didn't want to do this because I feel like I'm like really ramming into the ground and kind of like pushing down people's throats. This is actually, I know it's not the case, but it feels like I'm talking about it so much. A question that I've gotten for the past, whenever this whole thing started, like 8 years ago, 7 years ago, what is it like to actually have brain surgery itself? I've always kind of like touched and go with like little things, but I never really dove in my personal experiences. Every time I've had one, I've had the same question asked. Everyone's been different, so I thought it'd be kind of cool because I could tell you guys, every one of them were actually different. The last two were awake, the first one was asleep, but the last two were totally different kind of surgeries. I'm gonna be completely honest. This might be a really weird video because of the fact that I just took some medication, which is another thing that's completely different than the previous ones. Is the medication I'm on makes me kind of loopy. I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible for me to edit because I want to make sure I don't spend 40 hours trying to do something that I could probably not. See, I'm doing it right now. 8 years ago, first surgery, right? I was asleep. I was in Sarasota right after we found out that I had the tumor in Boise. But as you can see, it's not this big. This is more of just layers or excess, but it's on this side of my head. I have to get it removed. Then I had to fly home to get it taken care of because we weren't going to do it in Idaho because I did not want to. We didn't know what was going on. It was terrifying. So I didn't want to be in a different state. Not to say they were bad. I'm sure they're amazing doctors, but I don't know them. And my family had doctor friends here in Sarasota. Okay, so first surgery, 2012, Sarasota, Florida, asleep. The fact it was the very first one, I had no idea what was going on, so obviously I was terrified. Honestly, the only time I've ever had surgery was on my shoulder and maybe, you know, like getting my molars taken out. That was about it. I'm just tired. Yeah, never mind the hair on that one. I didn't know what to expect. So years prior to that, I had a video, was Dr. Zombie, brain surgeon, and I got brain surgery in the video.
He's apparently a 34-year-old male. He was involved in a 10-car pileup.
And then, like, I think maybe like a year or two later, the actual thing happened. So first off, that's all I knew about it because I thought it was like it sounds horrible to say it, like a comical thing, but it's like, you know, at least it's not brain surgery or something like that. I don't know how I prepped for it. I think a lot of denial. I think this whole thing has been denial. This entire process of my head has been severe denial. Just trying to, like, basically out of sight, out of mind. There's a lot of brain puns in like everything I say, I bet. First surgeon had me do it while I was sleeping because they didn't know what it was. They wanted just to get it out because from the MRI that I got when I had that seizure in Boise was that they saw a mass in it. So they had me stay asleep because it was my first surgery and I felt that would have been the most and safest way at the time to take care of it. All I remember for that one is literally just before going into the surgery as they were doing the anesthesia because they did the anesthesia prep before going into the actual thing. Oh wow, you can, yeah, it kind of does get a little tunnel vision. So that way I was like a little goofy loopy before even getting pushed into there. I don't remember pretty much anything after rolling with my homie. That's not that quick. And then pretty much waking up. That's all I remember. So that whole period of my life, that space right there when they were scooping things, no idea. There was like staples, like that's what's in my head right now. And looking at that and now looking at this, it's complete. I think I look like Frankenstein as it is now, but then looking at that, I look like Frankenstein. I want to almost omit the first one because of the fact that I didn't really know what it was like. I don't know what it felt like. I don't know anything. The recovery was pretty crazy. I felt like I did pretty good as far as recovery because I don't remember any real pain. I remember, okay, though I do remember swelling. I do remember my head getting a little bloated because I went overseas and there's photos of me. My head looks like a giant, like a ball. It looks like it's just all puffed up, which is a normal thing because there's air and swelling in your brain and your head and they're cutting it open and stuff like that. So I do remember that part and having headaches a little bit more on the first one. But as far as like the actual surgery, if someone would say, oh, what is it like to have a brain surgery? And I'll just be like you're sleeping. That's literally what it's like the first one. So I feel like that one we can almost omit because of the fact that it's the wash. It's the wash away surgery. What was it like? I remember the anesthesia at the beginning, laughing at the fact that they wrote yes at the top. I think that was the weirdest thing. This is the crucial thing. The most concerning part was the fact that they had to do that because that was the first time I experienced it. Does this happen where they actually screw up a lot, where they have to write yes? What happens if they go on the wrong side? Oops, it's not in that side. We gotta go on the other side. So then I have like two things. It's really hard to talk about that one because of the fact that it's so long ago and I honestly don't really remember much. I remember the beginning, I remember the end, I remember the recovery. Because it must have not been too bad because I was overseas with a Simple Plan on that tour. Awesome. Like what? Screw segues and stuff like that. For the last leg of that European, French, whatever tour it was. That's all I remember of the first one. Now the second one, that's a whole different ball. That one's a completely different ball game. Now the second one was a little more terrifying because of the fact that first it came back. That was scary. 2, it was slightly bigger. And 3, they were like right off the bat, they were like, okay, so this is bigger. It's kind of it's touching your motor skills, your left hand, it's right frontal lobe. So what we're going to need to do this one is we got to fly you up to Boston because we can't do it down here. And you got to get an awake brain surgery. First off, didn't know that existed. I just thought it was like every surgery. They pump you with anesthesia. You go night-night, and then you wake up and you go, ow, that kind of hurt. And now you have to recover. Whee! Hey! I tried to limit my research about what that really entailed because, whatever, they'll just scoop it out, no big deal. I had to fly to Boston. I don't remember doing any of the preps or the presets, the setups for the second one that I had to do for this last one, for the third one. And that may have been because of the fact that I had to go to Boston and everything. I know I'm going to try to talk forever, so I'm going to try to just quickly. The second one, went up to Boston. They told me what I had to do, met with the surgeon. We sat down and he explained how it was going to work, that basically they were going to put me on anesthesia, just like the first one, but they were going to kind of wake me up after they did the zzz and opened everything. I say this very like candidly because I had to make jokes about it because it freaks me out. It still freaks me out. I'll be completely honest because the vulnerability of everything, it freaks me out a little bit. So I make jokes. So they said they were going to put me under the anesthesia for the initial zzz, and then they would wake me up, and then during that process, they would ask me questions. They'd keep me alert. So they'd be like, hey, can you move your arm? Can you do this? Can we have this conversation?
How about we give a thumbs up to the group?
Thumbs up.
There you go.
That's my brain up there.
Yeah.
I honestly thought they were just messing with me. I thought they were playing a really mean trick or a prank on me.
My brain is open.
I didn't think that was possible. They gave me the anesthesia. Again, they wrote yes and no and all that stuff at the beginning. They gave me anesthesia at the beginning. So that way I was nice and calm when I went into the actual operating room itself. Vaguely remember certain things, like bits and pieces. It's so hard to describe what it's like. It's like being really, 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 really tired.
What's up, Internet?
And if you're of age, being drunk enough to where you're not blacked out, but you still understand what's going on.
It's kind of funny. You're not really as quick-witted with your head open.
It's very weird. It's very indescribable. So the brief thing I do remember is they wheeled me in. I did my goofy thing. I know I always do that just because it has to make me laugh kind of thing. Can't remember that part. I do remember being really bright white and a lot of cling clang like noises and stuff like that from everything being set up. But other than that, all I remember is being woken up kind of and answering some questions.
Here you are.
This is a video actually I filmed or had the surgeon actually allow me to film. And one of the assistants actually was the one asking me all the questions. If you haven't seen that video, it's pretty gnarly. I'll put a link in the description. It's actually during my brain surgery. I'm asking questions. I'm vlogging. I'm literally vlogging as I'm having brain surgery. Obviously, that's what made that surgery, a very unique situation. Some of the questions that they asked, I remember very vividly answering. And then some of them, I have no idea.
Ozzy horns or something there, right?
We'll keep the double hands out of here.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. It's the strangest thing. And I know the whole point of this video is to describe what it's like to actually have brain surgery. It doesn't hurt. That's the first off. It doesn't hurt. The worst part of brain surgery is the cutting because that's all your nerves and skin. Oh my God, it gives me goosebumps every time I talk about it. Apparently, I guess once it's open, they get to your brain, which is what they're doing, and you don't feel it, which is very, very true because I'm under anesthesia, but I think the anesthesia is just to knock me out during the part. I think that's would probably put people more in like a cardiac arrest or something like that from just the sheer noises and being aware of that situation. Like if I was awake enough to hear that part of it and not just the conversations that I was having with the doctors, I think I may have been in a lot more situation, like serious situation. That would honestly freak me out. But I don't remember that part, which is obviously thank God. Now I remember going to sleep and I don't remember waking up as much actually. I remember being up.
Apparently my smile's delayed.
The first moment that I remember is the nurse came and goes, "Is this yours?" And she gave me my Canon, the G7X, and she put it on my stomach, and she was like, "There you go. Everything went well. Here's your camera back." I turned it on because obviously I'm a vlogger, I'm a YouTuber. This is what you got to make sure the footage is there, right? First thing I saw was the inside of my head, and I had this weird panic attack. It was so terrible. I turned ghostly white. I remember my family was in there. All the things were going off, freaking everyone out. Nurses ran in. Apparently, I gave myself a severe panic attack looking at the video footage right after surgery, like an idiot. I never have seen any of the uncensored part except that one part. I don't think I've actually ever watched the full video itself because I didn't edit the video. Because the second surgery was a lot more, because I was awake, it was a lot more severe because it was more to get out. And the fact that I was awake and stuff like that, I don't want to say they did too much because they didn't necessarily get everything out, the second one or the first one, because it was my frontal lobe and it was more aggressive of a surgery. My whole left side, I mean, you can see all those videos, like
Learned how to tie my pants.
Tie him.
I just looked like pudgy, like on my left side, and I couldn't move, I couldn't smile. I was like, that's pretty much what it was. My left hand, no way, my left hand was just gone.
I'm kicking some butt.
You are kicking butt. You're kicking ass.
My left foot, my left leg, everything, left arm, everything, this whole body. I thought I was going to be paralyzed on my left side forever. Like I didn't honestly know what to expect on that situation because they didn't brief me on that, hey, this is a possibility. This might actually happen. Just a heads up. It was more like, gotta feed the dogs. And dogs are fed. So yeah, I didn't really get the brief on the fact that might happen. So when it did, I genuinely freaked the hell out, as probably any human being would. What was that like though? Almost like if you were to sit on your hand for 42 days and pull your hand out and try to do something, that would probably be the equivalent to, or somebody gave you, like punched you so hard in the arm that it just you couldn't move, like a dead arm or dead leg or whatever, like in the thigh or something like that. And then you multiply that probably by 10. That's probably maybe what it would be equivalent to somebody who has never experienced it. And I hope to God none of you ever have to because it sucks. Now, as far as pain on the second one, I don't really remember any pain. They had me on a lot of drugs on that one. See, that's the thing about all these surgeries is the medication they put you on. The steroids make you very aggro. Like my temper got really short, like really quickly. And that's probably one of the most annoying, uncomfortable things. I don't remember, oh my God, what was the stitches like? I don't remember. They were staples, weren't they? Wow. I really don't remember.
I'll do a lazy mohawk. Trying the mohawk.
I guess that's why I vlog, thank God. I guess I did have staples. So what is it like to have awake brain surgery for the first time? I don't really know. It just feels like a weird dream. And all I remember is the last part of it and the rehab and all that stuff. And the fact that part sucks so much. Oh, I kind of glossed over it. So the first one, it was like 98% was removed. Second one was 99 point something removed. I got off. This is what I'm talking about. The medication screws me up. The second one, I remember them asking me questions, and then I think it's not on the video because I think they cut it off because I think the guy threw the camera down on the ground. They were going to try to get that little bit point, whatever was left, but they were like, Charles, can you respond? Can you say something? And I remember them. This is the weirdest part. This is where you feel like in a cage. I remember him saying that, but I don't remember being able to consciously like say something. All I remember is, Charles, can you move your hand? Charles, what's going on? Can you say something? And in my head, I'm like thinking I'm actually moving my hand. I thought I was going like this with my hands. I thought I was moving it all over. I thought I was whacking somebody, but apparently I was not. All I remember hearing is, okay, we're done. And I just hear clink, 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 clink. Everyone just dropping their utensils, their tools. And that's honestly the last thing I remember before waking up. I can't believe I completely bypassed that part. That is the weirdest part. It feels like you're trapped in your body. Awake brain surgery feels like you're literally trapped in your body when you can't respond or you're thinking you're responding. If you're following along with this, Congratulations. I'm barely able to follow along with this. Now back to where I was, third brain surgery. They told me that I had to do a third one. So obviously the third one was going to be an awake one as well as the first one because of the fact that the same situation where they needed to make sure that they removed that section without removing the section of my brain that made me go, "Ooh." I had the more prep. They had something called a cognitive MRI. It takes like an hour and a half. It literally reads your mind. I'm not even kidding. Like if you say it out loud, they say to do it again, but don't say anything. Obviously, COVID, that screwed everything up. Nobody was allowed in the hospital. So literally, it was me going into the hospital by myself, already terrified.
I love you so much.
Love you, Rama.
Weird thing to describe because it was like you're walking into this hospital, very unsure, uncertain, scared shitless. You're gonna have brain surgery, but no one can see you. You can't see them. They can't see you afterwards. You have to just sit there by yourself with your phone on your stomach, like diddling. I was playing like Flappy Bird or something like that while I was awaiting brain surgery. This one was different because they didn't give me the anesthesia. And I think this is also why it was a little weird because like the first two, I had family members and I was joking around, keeping my mind off of things. This last one sucked because nobody was around. So I was trying to like joke around with the nurses and they were amazing and I've been making a lot of jokes and stuff like that. But a lot of it was, like I said, just me sitting on my phone, just trying to kill time. As a result, I think they had me a little bit more awake and alert because they had other people around me to answer questions. Like so for example, the first two, like I said, they gave me the anesthesia before rolling me off. I think that my family was there, so if they had other questions about me, that they could answer it. However, because the third one in the COVID situation, they weren't able to do that. So I was completely, when I say this, completely sober, lucid, completely aware of everything, getting wheeled into that OR, and I will never forget it because it was utterly terrifying.
Knock, knock.
The entire time I'm thinking, like, you guys are going to give me the anesthesia, right? And I'm like, oh, we're going to give it to you in the OR. I'm like, you sure? I could see everything. I could see the tools here. I could see people over here. So I closed my eyes the whole time. Literally didn't have to. Just closed my eyes. And the anesthesiologist was like, okay, we're going to give you the anesthesia now. We're going to put you to sleep. And we'll bring you back, when it's time for the actual communication. They did it right here. It was like you just feel this, felt like almost like razors going up into your blood. It was so painful. And they told me, it was like, it's going to be kind of painful. And I don't remember that in the first couple. Like a cat scratch. But inside your veins and stuff like that. That's what it felt like. It was like scratching right up and stuff like that. And all you can do is just clench and go like that and just clench it and let it pass. And then it goes away as quick as it came. Vaguely remember being, I want to keep calling it trapped in my body, trapped in my head. From what I remember, and I don't know if this is true, they had me, they had their fingers like this. And then I had my left hand and I would go like this and I'd squeeze them as a response. I think I was talking too at points. So I do remember them asking me questions and like, hey, can you move your hand? And maybe I kind of was like doing one of these kind of things. I don't remember. I felt like that. I guess the whole general thing that I'm trying to explain is that brain surgery is like a dream. It's very weird. Not a fun dream, but it's just a very weird kind of dream. You're like aware of what's going on, but you're really not. I wanted to really be very consciously aware of everything that I needed to do because the first awake brain surgery, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know I would be able to have a conversation. I just thought I'd be awake. But since I knew that they had to stop the last one was because I wasn't responding, I wanted to really be able to focus as hard as I could so that way they could get that gray area out, that he was going to go for the scar tissue from the previous two, and then anything else that he could possibly do. So I remember they got the first one, and I vaguely remember, and I don't know if this is true, again, like everything I'm saying, if somebody said, okay, we got the whole tumor out, do you want to go for the rest of it? And I think he said, as long as he can respond and function and do those things, we can do it. Or like I said, this is why having surgeries like this is so weird, as I'm closing my eyes now because I'm trying to remember how it went down. I think they said, Charles, can you squeeze your hand or lift your hand up? And at first I felt like I was kind of like reaching in the air. Like I felt like I was going like this, trying to say yes. Or was I? I don't remember. It's so weird. This whole thing is, I don't want to say trippy because it's such an easy pun. And I remember them saying, can you still hear us? Can we go for the other one? Or the other doctor saying that. And I remember going, like squeezing as much as I possibly could. I don't know if it was probably like, I kind of think of it like, I felt like I was squeezing like a vice, but I bet it was like that person was probably like a little feather touching her hand or something like that. He went and got the rest of the scar tissue out just because he was in there, so might as well get it all out, right? Again, it was like the heavy dream state kind of thing. I woke up, like I was aware, like we're done, and I'm like, okay. I was in the OR again. I was up again, I was up awake while they wheeled me out of the OR, and then they go into this recovery room. I think his name was Jose, and he goes, "Oh, that was the first time somebody was completely lucid when they came in here. They must have had me on like the cusp of being awake kind of thing. It was very strange." And I remember waking up there, or being awake there, and still being loopy as hell, and thinking I was the funniest person in the world. I'm sure I was the most annoying person in the world. The third one was pretty intense, but I'm gonna shut up now because I'm hungry and I'm so exhausted. I feel like at the beginning of this video I was like really peppy and pumped up, but now like I think the medication is starting to hit, so I'm probably look like death right now. Hopefully I was able to keep your attention more than my attention was kept on myself. I really probably should just go. Take care. Bye, guys.